So, like during the time, now that you were looking at large scale liquidation, were you did your mindset change? Because then you're kind of also on a time crunch, right? Like I need to in 3 months I need to get rid of $40 million worth of inventory. Or that's an extreme scale, is what I would say within the liquidation industry, where when you're looking at this kind of like events.
That's a huge shift. The timeline and the amount of people involved. So it's not just the buyer and the seller. It's there's creditors, bankers, finance professionals, real estate professionals, intellectual property professionals, all need receivables, all needing to get their part of this liquidation resolved within the timeline. So there may be, full brand liquidation, and they need to be out. That warehouse needs to be emptied and cleaned by this date, by the end of this month. While the fixture and furniture folks need to get in to get all the racking and the machinery out. Well, the inventory has to go before that. So many people rely on these very strict deadlines. And yeah, I was working on a big project. It was $68 million at cost that had to be moved in it was less than 6 weeks. It was about 5 weeks. Now you're also balancing that with needing to maximize the recovery, because that's what the bankers over here care about. So you're starting with your major off pricers where you'll get more before you kind of like go down the pecking order. So to really go at it with a tiered structure and, okay, we've exhausted this. Now we're going to move here. Now we're going to move here. But having a very solid strategy and timeline with how you're going to do that. But it's like a constant sprint. So it is very intense because you might be in the middle of that deal and another huge liquidation comes. Well, now you need part of your team over here. So how are you going to manage that? And then right when that ends, maybe you have a week to like catch your breath and another one starts. And you have no control over that timing. There's court dates, there's different rulings. Oh no, you thought this was going to start, but the can just got kicked down the road a little. So you can prepare, but then suddenly you wake up to a headline. You're like, oh my gosh, this company filed, here we go. So it's a lot. But again, it's a super dynamic environment. It's fulfilling, it's exciting, you learn a lot, but it's exhausting.
Yeah, I mean, my company Commerce Central got involved in a similar deal where a multi, like a big retailer went out of business, and yeah, I resonate with what you're saying. It's a lot, and there's a lot of work. It's not as simple as here's my excess inventory, who's going to take it. You have to kind of make sure, because you're dealing with large amount of inventory, you need to find the right kind of buyers as well who can take that much inventory.
Yeah.
Because a large if a large business is going like filing chapter 11 or is like liquidating, they won't go for the smaller deals. They want the bigger players as well, so that they can get rid of it within a certain amount of time, and the pool of people that you can sell to becomes very small in those instances. And I mean, did you also, like during that time, like this is one experience that I have: when you're liquidating larger amount of inventory, your margins suffer. Like you're literally looking more to save your operation cost, and you're going to make 5 cents on a dollar or something like that. Did you also feel where these large where people are liquidating
Yeah.
larger the amount of inventory you have, lower your margins would be? Does that resonate with you?
Yeah. So I always kind of say there's three levers that kind of give and take. Recovery, so how much you're going to get, speed, and brand protection. So if you're on a tight timeline and you need to move it fast, yes, recovery is going to suffer. If you are concerned about brand protection and you're insisting these goods leave the country, recovery is going to suffer. And potentially speed. If recovery is your highest concern, you want to get the most for it, okay, it's going to take longer. We're going to be very patient. We're going to like divvy it out here and there and maximize your recovery. So absolutely, in these large liquidations where you're focused on cost savings to, because you're eliminating the head count and you're getting out of leases and like solid reasons why these goods have to go, of course, recovery is going to take a hit.
Yeah, makes sense. And during that time when businesses are going out, their primary like out of these three things, I'm getting brand protection would be the least, and um,
Yeah, at this point, yeah. So for a big liquidation, brand protection, they don't care because it's over.
yeah.
Typically, sometimes you're working with the intellectual property team who might be selling the brand. So that makes it really interesting where, okay, then sell it. And this has happened where we work closely together and you're selling the brand to someone that ends up buying most of the inventory as well. So they can control that because they're moving forward with the brand.
Makes sense. So it's like someone else has bought the brand and they want to protect the brand in order to
Yeah, now
take
they
it.
don't want, they care. Someone else suddenly cares about what happens with this excess.
That
I'm like,
makes
okay,
sense.
you care, then buy it. That's the only way to control what happens is if you buy it.
That makes sense.
So they did.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Margins, speed, and brand protection. Those are the three
Mhm.
levers that like even exist today. Like,
Mhm.
which people, and they are all trade-offs. Like if you want one of them, then the other would suffer. If you want the other
Yeah.
one, then the other one might suffer. And every brand has a different priority based on where they are, what they are doing with their brand, and what